Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam, and everybody, welcome back.
Let's get into the light, AJ. It's a bit dark on this
So
tree.
we're just coming out of under the tree. So
Shade.
what we want to discuss next is maybe a bit more of a reality that is obviously some of us are facing, which is the role. There's a lot of discussion about celebrities, and obviously we discussed about sports personalities last week. So it's not that we want to attack or criticize the person. It's the thinking and the ideas and the values that are promoted that we want to question. So obviously recently Sheikh Hamza Yusuf, he made a reference to the situation of Sham, Syria, and the people that are who rose up against the tyrannical regime there, and he described them. He basically said what in a mocking manner. He mentioned what have they achieved.
Walk towards that
What have they done. So basically, I think it's very important to contextualize this. And obviously, he's apologized, but the apology is too late, too little, and also he hasn't explained what was the mistake he made, and that is very important. As whenever we see anything that is wrong, that we explain it properly and try to give rectify with a explanation, so we do not do it again. That said, we've got a few minutes to discuss about what is the celebrities about, what personalities are out there, and not to follow these personalities blindly. Maybe they are doing good. Some of the celebrity scholars, they do make a contribution, they pass ideas, they do talk about different issues and try to talk about Islam, and some of the issues that are related to society. But
I think if I can jump in here, AJ, let's go this way, let's go that way. Let's go this way
Okay.
over here. If I can just jump in there. Our brother AJ is saying, I mean, look, at the end of the day, this issue is important to be addressed. I mean, we did debate and we did discuss should we address this, should we not address this. I thought maybe it's something relevant because, again, we're not picking on any individuals or anything like that, who we do that. But the thing is, as a collective ummah, we have a responsibility to speak out against anything that we feel is incorrect. And there's a few things here that were raised. And by the way, this actual video, this comment that was made, it was made a few years ago. It wasn't something recently, but it's been brought into the spotlight. Number one, obviously, this particular brother is very well respected, very well known, and has a great following, has a massive following. Okay, so it's critical when you're in that position that you're addressing the people in the most appropriate manner, saying the most appropriate things, and addressing these issues with an Islamic perspective. And number one, accounting the rulers is something very critical as a Muslim. Let's forget the fact that, in fact, let's even look at here living in Britain. You're telling me that here living in Britain, the Prime Minister doesn't get constantly addressed, accounted and criticised. You have people regularly marching, demonstrating against the governments here. And you're saying now that Muslims shouldn't speak out against the rulers, Muslims shouldn't attack the rulers, Muslims shouldn't be, politically, going against the rulers. This is the reality when rulers are not ruling according to, what is right and what is wrong. But the AJ's decided to sit down here, so I think he's tired after the walk. You're trying to do something with this.
like, carry on.
Anyway, so what I was saying, so
It's not
gone too far now.
No, you're okay.
Right.
You're okay.
Anyway, so the whole issue about accounting, because one of the things that the brother Hamza Yusuf raised was the issue of how the Syrian people have tried to mock and attack the ruler. Obviously, there's a lot of issues in Syria that are going on politically, and we're aware of that. So this whole notion is completely false and incorrect. If the ruler's not ruling according to Islam, then we know that he should be accounted. Even if he was ruling according to Islam, the ummah has a right to address the ruler and speak to the ruler about things that the ruler is not doing. So that's complete kind of fabrication of the whole thing. The other thing I wanted to also highlight is that, look, none of these personalities are non-reproachable. Everyone has. Sorry.
You want to take over?
You want to take over? He's struggling. He's struggling with the vlogging. Let me just adjust that for you. Yeah, we get a proper
We're
setting
doing
on
this.
there.
It's basically how the response that obviously we need to be about contextualizing the situation and looking at the reality. A lot of these Muslim majority countries, their rulers are not ruling according to Islam. They're actually oppressing the people. First crime that is on their neck according to Islam is that they are not implementing Islam, and that's what they need. We need to pick up on them. That is what we need to bring to everybody's attention. Firstly, they are not implementing Islam, and then obviously we look at them and we see they're also oppressing the Muslims. They're taking the rights of the people and not allowing accountability in society or discussion or debate, stifling debate. A lot of these countries are dictatorships, and even if they are democracies, we see that there's only certain viewpoints that are allowed by the ruling classes. So we need to bring in this debate about what is the Islamic ruling system, how does it function? Is it the case that, is it a dictatorship? Is it a democracy? There's a lot of confusion. What we see from the Quran and the Sunnah is the Prophet ﷺ, he was the best example for us, and he showed us how to do the dawah, and we learn a lot of examples of how to win people over, persuade them on an intellectual basis through the discussions and the strength of our ideas, and pointing out the wrongs in society and pointing to the right direction. This is the key subject. That is, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, وَلْتَقُمْ مِنْكُمْ أُمَّةً يَدْعُونَ إِلَى الْخَيْرِ وَيَأْمَرُونَ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَيَنْهَوْنَ عَنِ الْمُنْكَرِ وَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ. What is this related to? This is talking about, let there be amongst you a group or people, a band of people, those who invite to the khair, enjoin what is good and forbid what is evil, and they are the ones who will be successful. Clearly there should be people in society who account governments, who invite people to khair, enjoying the good and forbid the evil. And these, Allah is telling us, these are the successful people. But that does not mean that you're linking the oppression as a sign of failure. This is not the case. Allah tries and He tests, and it's up to Him when He will grant the victory. And when He puts us through a test, we persevere, we are patient, and we do not abandon Islam. Being patient doesn't mean silently accepting the wrongs in society or accepting the zulm to as like, okay, we can't do anything, but we continue even in the hardest and the most difficult situation. We must continue to uphold Islam. We uphold Islam in every situation that we are. We do not compromise any of our beliefs, our values, and our principles. We're living in societies where today people do not have any principles, they do not have values, they do as they like and how they like. So it is upon us as Muslims, upon our shoulders, to point this out.
AJ, I'm going to cut you off there. Just going back to the point of discussion here, I mean, about these celebrities. I think the key thing is, guys, look, we can't walk around with this mentality that we can't speak out against what's been said. If it's incorrect, then it needs to be addressed. And yeah, okay, if they apologize, they apologize. But what we've got to also realize here, the reality of these individuals is most of the times they are sponsored, they are being funded, or they are being kind of maybe, monitored or what have you, with regards to what they say. So maybe they are pushing a certain narrative, maybe they are pushing a certain agenda, maybe it is a Western-led agenda, maybe they want to silence and pacify the Muslim Ummah. This is why we need to speak out. This is why we need to address these fundamental issues. And I'm not here to condemn any scholar or say he's right and who's wrong. Who am I to do that? But the point is that, we're intelligent human beings. We have our own capacity to think. And if we become redundant in that respect, and all we do is we're like a robot, we just nod our heads and we agree to whatever these personalities say, and we allow them to dictate the way we think and how we view things in life without questioning and thinking about it, then shame upon us, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us the faculties of thought, given us the faculties of intellect to come to conclusions and draw conclusions. And I'm not saying that we take away anything from these individuals, but if they're saying something that's according to the authentic sources is incorrect, then we need to raise these people on this. We need to account these people. We don't remain silent about it. We don't kind of pacify these individuals and be apologetic towards them because, oh, you know what, they've done so much good in the community. What about all this is done? What about all that done? But these are critical things. These are things that these people that we look towards for advice, for guidance, because these people are the ones who are the learned, the scholars. So it's important when they deliver an incorrect message, that affects us all. That affects the masses.
The issue is not about just celebrity scholars. This is same in politics. People follow personalities, and even in sports, celebrities. We do sometimes find that they've got some skills or some abilities, but that does not mean.
Sit down over here.
Mean that we decide to. They can use that celebrity status to dumb down and support the dictators or tyrants, not to sit with them. If they do sit with them, the purpose of sitting down for a scholar is to advise and account the government. It's not to take a selfie with them and to share it so that people will, see you sitting with whoever it is, and then what are people supposed to think? So you have to explain yourself. If you're a celebrity, if you are in a position of authority or you have knowledge, do explain your subject. And it's job upon us. If we follow certain personalities, it's our job to advise them. And
I think the dangerous thing also is here, AJ, is that you mentioned the word celebrity, and that's the dangerous word that we need to avoid, because the Sahabas, the previous nations, they didn't have this celebrity mentality. They didn't feel like they were non-approachable. They couldn't make errors and make mistakes and not be accounted to by the Ummah. There's a very famous example of Umar radiallahu anhu, where he was trying to set the mahar for the women. And one of the women in the crowd, she spoke out. She says, if Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam didn't set mahar for the woman, why are you doing that, Ya Umar? You know what I mean? And Umar obviously then, changed his kind of position on that. So the thing was, Umar radiallahu anhu was the great Caliph of Islam, and he was corrected by this individual, and she spoke out very kind of like openly to him on this matter. So it's very dangerous when we have this celebrity style mentality towards these scholars that we respect. We respect them. No one's saying that we disrespect them, but rather, we know they're human beings and they can be wrong, they can make mistakes, and we should address these issues. Also, we should raise our own understanding of things, and we should not just take things that are said quite literally. It's important that we understand the demographics, the dynamics of what's going on in the world, and we should have some kind of awareness of things. So we're not like sheep that are just taking things quite literally. Rather, we have the capacity to think, and we do think, and we question what we hear and what we kind of come across around us, and that's the key thing. So again, it's important that we don't fall into this trap all the time.
One last example about not following people blindly. The Prophet ﷺ said to one of the Sahabas, it's about the Christians and rabbis, you worshipping them. So one of the companions who was from the background, he was previously Jewish, he asked the Prophet ﷺ, we did not worship them. The Prophet ﷺ said, did they not make for you halal what is haram, and haram what is halal? That is what is meant by worshipping them. And the Sahabi, he said, yes, they did that. So it's very important, very, very important that we understand where this knowledge is coming from, and if there is any doubt, we need to ask. Islam is not a religion for for to be left to the scholars or to the leaders or to certain section.
Cut it there,
Okay.
because we're running over into 15 minutes now.
Okay,
so-
we'll just leave it here, and hope you will be able to comment on Facebook or social
Press the
media.
stop then.